Welcome. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. We'll get a couple more people in here. There we go. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. Okay. Everybody share this thing out, would you? Bring up the chat. Okay, today we're doing a Donald Miller Storybrand workshop. He did a fantastic job. He wrote a book called Building a Storybrand. I think I read it in 2018, maybe 2019. And it's just been one of those fantastic assets that you use again and again and again. And, I can't apply everything in life, but this was one of the things that I slowed down to implement. So let's have a look. Here we go. If you have not got this document yet, go grab it, make a copy, and you'll be able to do it. Hey, Deb, how are you? Good to see you.
Good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Okay, so if you guys pull this up and it doesn't make a copy for you, I'm not going to give you edit to mine. File, make a copy. Okay, once you have your own copy there, you'll be ready to start filling in the blank. Now, Donald Miller at storybrand.com, he has this at mystorybrand.com. Yeah, so you can sign up and get it, which is great. I love his because it's a single poster you can do. But again, if you're brainstorming, this template is going to be very handy because you've got the one-liner. We've got here's the narrative. A character has a problem, notice the bold, and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that ends in a success and helps them avoid failure. And then you list all the character transformations. And I'll zoom this in a minute, but I just want to highlight the fact that it still follows exactly his framework for building these things. So I'm happy to work through this with somebody if they want to do a live example. I can also walk through one of mine if you guys would like to see one. Do we have any volunteers? Does anybody want to go through theirs? Have you already built one?
I'd like to go through one.
Was that Jay?
Yes.
Great. You mind
Okay.
giving me edit access so we can work on it together?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, he was incredible. I've loved him for a while, liked all his stuff, and the whole paradigm of your customer is the hero of the story and you're just a guide instead of you being the hero that they need to turn to. Premium content. Let's go with this. Okay. All right, so what are we brand scripting for you?
So a little bit of what I do, I am a disposition wholesaler.
Okay.
And I focus on acquiring single family and small multifamily properties as well as land.
Now, it's also possible that you have multiple products or services, and I'm just putting comments over here for now. It's possible that you have multiple services that need a separate brand script. Maybe you have one for your overall company and then a separate one for, like for me, contract write-ups is one service that I offer.
Yeah.
Certain people, I need to pitch that.
Yeah.
Transaction management's another thing that I offer. Certain people need that one. So if you could boil it down to one thing right now,
So
it's dispositions.
dispositions.
As a JV partner, what's your business model?
My business model is a JV model. So yes, that's a JV partner.
So not flat fee. You basically you consult for equity in the deal. You bring in your skills and cause stuff to happen, and then you get paid as they close it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you do it as a percentage?
Yeah. So my model is 50-50 JV.
Got it. And that's pretty common from what I recall. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll come back to the one-liner. as we work through the other pieces, but I put it at the top because that's what the summary of all this stuff comes back to. When you open this document, you want to see what your one-liner is, but it's coming in three parts. What's your customer's problem? Explain your plan to help them and describe a successful ending. Do you have any idea what to put on there yet?
I believe I have an idea. So my customer's problem, I work with a lot of wholesalers that typically they're focused on just being on the phones all day. And by the time it comes to a contract, now they're struggling to sell their deals.
Yeah.
So the problem is timely, a timely, a timely closing of finding a buyer within a timely manner.
Yeah. Okay. So wholesalers, how do we put that in? Wholesalers that have deals under contract is who you're looking at.
Yeah,
Actually, wholesalers, we want to go to individual.
yeah,
A wholesaler with deals under contract
okay,
wants to get them assigned.
yes,
That describes anyone you want to partner with, right?
correct.
Okay. Now, what's their problem? Now, when we break this down, remember the bold is a character has a problem and meets a guide, and that's where you come in. But in the problem area, we can break it down. Is there a villain? There's not always a villain. But if you can come up with a villain to team up against, that's one of those things that people love to do. In this case, it doesn't, I don't imagine there's a villain.
Yeah, I don't imagine.
So I'm going to do strike through. You can undo strike through. It's Alt Shift 5, by the way, or on
Okay,
Macs, it's like Option Shift 5 or something like that. But strike through is what I use on my team to indicate, hey, I've looked at this and addressed it. I don't think it applies, but I'm not going to delete it because it may apply in the future. Your call. Now, external problems are what are they facing? They have a deal and they need to get it sold.
so they don't have, so a lot of times they don't have the proper underwriting expertise. So I come in and
So
I,
deals are poor. They're poorly underwritten. They're not
yeah,
good deals
most
yet.
of the
Okay.
time I have to go back and retrade on price for them.
Okay. And this is so you're more of a consultative. Now, is that what justifies the 50% that you do? If you're doing 50/50,
Yeah,
it's because you're consulting. So you're more of a consultative
yeah, so
and
I'm
it's with
consulting.
like a heavy emphasis on the JV piece.
Yeah, so I also help with rehabs because I'm a general contractor.
Okay.
So offering rehab numbers and just renegotiating with the seller or the agent.
Okay, so we want to keep this as simple as possible. It's very
Mhm.
tempting as you guys go through this. It's very
Yeah,
tempting to say deals won't sell because they're overpriced and something else, and we have to be very aggressive at knocking all that off. So it's they don't sell because they're overpriced. Now you can list as many problems as you want, but ideally we're going to boil it down. And so that's why the Google Doc is beneficial here, is because we can do as many bullet points as we want. So what other
okay.
problems do they face that are external to them?
Not being able to speak with buyers, having trouble negotiating with, yeah, with end buyers. Yep,
Are they sometimes operating in not the same market?
correct. So boots on the ground. Yep.
How do I say this? Operating in multiple markets. That's not a problem in and of itself. Um, it falls under they don't have local contacts, et cetera, I suppose.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, and we can come back as any more external problems you face or that they face, feel free to add to it. But internal problem is almost always going to be something like, do I have what it takes to X? It's an internal challenge. What is their internal struggle? Do I have what it takes to build relationships? Do I have what it takes to, um, I don't know, structure deals correctly in the first place?
Hmm.
So that's going to be what, structure deals?
Yeah, structure
Uh,
deals.
that's comp and underwrite.
Yeah, comp and underwrite.
So your messaging, the depth of this is you've got a one-liner at the top, you guys. But the depth of it is that you go through this and you identify all these things, and your marketing, your messaging, your communications, your website are going to speak to the problems that they have. And remember how he talked about you spend most of your time focusing on the problem so that the solution is that much more beautiful. And it feels negative to focus on the problem, but in our communications, we talk and harp on the problem until they're like, yes, that's me. That's me. Yes. And then you're like, but here's how we fix it. So, do I have what it takes to comp and underwrite deals correctly in the first place? Because if they did that, would they need you?
No.
They'd have an easy time selling it.
Yeah.
Maybe their challenge is, do I have what it takes to sell it for the highest price possible?
Yep.
What else?
Yeah. Build a relationship with the right contractors and buyers.
Okay. Anybody else does wholesaling in here? What things do you face? What challenges do you face? This is a great opportunity to chip in and speak up about, yeah, I always face this problem. This is always my challenge. Interviewing your customers, by the way, is one of the best ways to figure out what their challenges actually are.
Keeping up with timelines as far as from, making sure the EMD goes in, making
Okay.
sure inspection period is met.
Okay. External problem, is that like a time management thing?
Yeah, time management.
This sounds like you're going to include transaction coordination in part of your Dispo.
Yes,
Is that true?
correct. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So that's a problem and you can solve it. You don't have to solve every problem, but listing all these things is good here. Do I have what it takes to, I guess, keep the deal from falling apart?
That's a
That's
great one.
pretty,
Mhm.
we want to specifically relate that to what? Timelines, performance. Okay, these are all questions that they should be asking themselves, and your messaging should be tapping into this. Do you really have what it takes to find the highest paying buyer? Do you really have what it takes to build relationships with contractors so that you can understand, so that you can comp and underwrite? Are you really the person? I know you face these challenges. And philosophical, is there anything where it's like why it's just plain wrong that they're burdened by this problem? Does somebody else monopolize relationships and it's like, this shouldn't be, is somebody stop gating the information or the relationships? Or again, there's not always a
Yeah,
philosophical problem either.
I don't know about that one. That one's kind of tough for me to answer right now.
Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
Come back to it if there's something. Like
Okay.
for me, let's look at a philosophical problem on a different one of mine. So let's look at contract write-ups. What did I have for that? Character has a problem. Villain meets a guide. This is a different format. This is from before. All right. It's unacceptable for savvy investors to jeopardize their hard-earned capital due to contract oversights or lack of creative finance expertise. This is me justifying why somebody's going to need my services for a contract write-up because my team steps in to help people do the best contract based on our experience. If you're a first-time investor or even a 10th time investor, I guarantee we've touched more contracts and we've been through the muck with people. So it's just not fair that your deal falls apart because you didn't have access to knowledge, somebody who's got experience, or somebody who wants to JV for half your deal. This is not speaking of you, Jay. I'm saying specifically, there are people who will let first time people do deals as JV partners, but they'll take most of the deal for the sake of, if you want to ride with me, I'll help you get your deal done, but I take a giant percent.
Yeah,
For me, I'm like, no, I'll just take a flat fee. That's what I do. I'm on repeat here. And I think, it could be philosophically, it could be quote unquote just plain wrong that the only option people have to turn is that they have to give away a large chunk or most of their deal to somebody else in order to get it done. So back to yours, if you can think of a philosophical problem, why it's just plain wrong. And that can put your competition in the doghouse because that's what you want is that separation. All right, so we have a character, a wholesaler who wants to sell, who has deals under contract. I don't care about wholesalers who don't have deals under contract. I care about the ones who already have them under contract, right?
yep.
Okay. They have a problem. Their deals won't sell or they don't know buyers. They wonder if they have what it takes to do deals the right way, to comp, to build relationships. Now they meet a guide. That's you. How can you empathize with their problem? Have you been there? Have you been in their shoes?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. What kind of statements can you make along those lines? Do you have an origin story? This is your chance for that.
Okay. Well, in my first year, I canceled 13 contracts and spent over 30,000 in marketing.
I'm gonna change the order of those. I spent $30,000 in marketing in my first year. First year, I spent 30K in marketing and had to cancel 13 contracts. Does that, can they identify with that? Being like, oh man, yeah, you've been here. You've been where I'm at. No, why did you have to cancel your contracts? Do you know?
They were locked up too high.
Yeah, you're gonna have to embellish this, but it's like you want a little bit of an origin story that shows that you've been there.
Okay.
I wasted so much time doing bad deals, thinking I was doing deals. There you go. Because there's the fear of missing out. People want to avoid failure so bad. Um, okay. And ideally, you come up with 3 to 5 of these statements.
Okay.
Authority. What have you done to fix it? Now you've done what? 500 deals, 200 deals. Your cancellation rate is what percent? What, something like that. Anything along those lines.
So 150 deals. Oh, cancellation rate has probably gone down to maybe 30%, 20%, like 25%.
Okay. That sounds pretty good. I mean, these are going to be your numbers. So
Yeah.
we're kind of just pushing stuff into here. In the past,
3 years.
okay, that's encouraging. It demonstrates that you've been there, you've done that. So you've experienced the same problems and you've gotten through it. So
Mhm.
that's what makes you a guide is I've been there, I've done that. I'm on the other side of it. I can
Mhm.
see to the finish line that you can't see. I'm standing up on this pedestal, this rock, and I can see and I can tell you how to get there. But remember, as a guide, your goal is to tell them how to get there.
Yeah.
Maybe that means you do some of the work for them, but you give them a plan. So is there a 3-step process? Upload your deal, schedule a call, I find a buyer. Is that it's like that?
Yep. Very similar. Yep.
You refine your process, but for the
Mhm.
sake of this exercise, that's good enough to start. And
Perfect.
when you see somebody's website that's like Hey, here's our simple three-step process. Do A, B, and C. Done. Beautiful. Can you do any guarantees? Do they only pay you if it closes? Do they have to pay upfront fees?
They don't pay me if it doesn't close.
Okay. Come up with a list of guarantees. Alex Hormozzi's, what is it, his second book? The $100 million
No, offers or leads. That's a great book.
leads.
Yep.
Is it offers or leads that goes over guarantees?
Off
He's got a great section about guarantees.
for guarantees, I believe it's offers. $100 million
Well, if
offers.
anybody else watching or listening, his books are pretty great, and it's got a whole focus section on guarantees. What kind of guarantee can you do? And he talked about club a baby seal guarantee. If you're not so satisfied with our service by the time you're done that you would club a baby seal, then we don't want your business. Stuff like that. So
So
come up with
agreements,
your
you would say
agreements and guarantees there.
like 3 to 4 agreements, you said?
You're going to boil it down to one, but this is where you brainstorm.
Okay. Got it.
So now that you've shown them, you understand who they are, what their challenges are, and you've demonstrated you're uniquely poised to help them, and you've given them a path to success, it's time to call them to action. What do you want them to do? Book a call with you? This is one thing.
Submit your deal on a form.
Okay. That's it. Now,
Mhm.
again, you can use bullet points for brainstorming, but you need to come down to one call to action.
Okay.
Now, you could have a different call to action based on the medium. If it's if it's your main website, it's going to be submit your deal. If it's going to be a Facebook post, it could be DM me, things like that.
Okay.
Are there any transitional calls to action, such as download my guide or look at my testimonials?
I would say look at my testimony. Well, my YouTube has testimonials on it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So do you have like a playlist of those, or is it like a collected set?
With the playlist.
Okay, you want to link the playlist itself and not just a single video. All
Okay.
right, so now you've called them to action. They had a problem, they met you, you give them a plan, you call them to action. Now they take action. That action ends in what kind of success?
It ends in well, this is after I've done what I had to do,
Uh-huh. By
and
working with you, they achieve what?
an assignment fee. Closed deal. Yep.
This is a whole list. Bigger assignment fee as possible, faster assignment, deals renegotiated.
Deals were negotiated, smooth process, handheld. Yep.
Okay. As many of those as you want. List a bunch of those and helps them avoid failure. This is where you bring the pain.
Okay.
That all
I
we got?
think that hits it pretty well.
I know that list can be 4 times as long, I promise you.
Yeah.
All right, they go from what? Basically incompetent to competent, right? They're going to learn. If they work with you enough times, they're not going to need to use you anymore. Or is this like a maturity thing? Like work with me and you'll be better in the future as well?
Yeah, yeah, because I coach through I actually go through the comping with them. I'll get on the phone with the seller. So they will be at a position where they won't need me anymore.
Okay. Inexperienced. So they'll go from being inexperienced to having demonstrated success. They
Mhm.
will go from Um, more deals falling apart to less deals falling apart. I'm going to put it in raw because I can't think of a better wording for it, but you need to refine this. I would never actually put that, but the concept is correct.
Mhm.
What are the transformations? Anybody else in the audience? What do you guys think the transformation is for a wholesaler who works with Jay for Dispo?
Oh, yeah, I say extreme confidence. Oh, okay, here.
More closings. Yeah, all right. This uh more closings falls into this one. I like it. Does and we're getting pretty close to the end of this one. Do we have anybody else who's done one that needs to work through it? Because that's the bottom of this one. Now we got to go back to the one-liner and get a first draft. I would encourage you to do more of these character transformations. But given all this stuff, there's two ways to put this. One is like the when you meet somebody and they're like, "What do you do?" That's where you pose it as a question. Well, you know how John has problems doing XYZ? Well, I fix that by bringing this and this to the table. You can pose it as a question, or you can do a forward pitch.
So like, for example,
Go ahead.
okay, so have you ever been under contract and are unsure whether or not you'll be able to find a buyer as you'll be unable to find a buyer and I mean, should I just say one question like that and then
Yep,
you
one
want me
question.
to- okay. Yeah, I think that you'll be unable to find a buyer. Well, I help wholesalers by underwriting their deals. Is this where I can list the bullet points at the bottom? Which bullet points would I be using for?
You have to consolidate all that stuff. That's why the long form is down here, all this stuff. You have to boil it down to a one-liner. And as he says, commas are not your friend.
Okay.
Generally, it's 1 to 2 sentences, 3 if you have to, but not a paragraph. So I'm going to move to a how do I do this? I'm going to do part one. So you have two different formats there.
Mhm.
Then we'll do part two. Well, I help wholesalers fix their numbers and get deals sold that they can get so they can get paid. What else do you do?
I I connect them with buyers as well as contract review.
Okay. I review fix. I
Yeah.
fix docs, math. I know commas are not your friend. I fix docs, math, and keep deals on track so I can get paid. Again,
So you can
so
focus on doing more deals. Yep.
yeah, you're gonna have to boil this down to now we did the question format, but there's an equal format, an equal statement that can be made that's not question format. Okay.
Mhm.
But that's that. Now let's look at my contract write-ups one. When a seller says yes to your creative finance offer, you need the right contract fast. Our live contract specialists help you write and send the contract so you don't miss the deal. It's relatively short. I'd like to make it shorter. I'm always trying to cut it in half, you know?
Yep.
Creative underwriter. I have a spreadsheet. Real estate investors struggle to do good creative finance deals. Our spreadsheet and training help you close profitable creative finance deals so you don't look like a fool. And I'm harping on this. When people underwrite poorly, they look like idiots.
Yeah.
When they don't know how to put a real deal together, I'm seeing head nods, Deb. But The worst thing for a wholesaler is to put something on Facebook and get blown up in the comments like, why would you ever put that under contract? That's irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. So I help people avoid that. That's a pretty painful experience to dodge by learning with Caleb, learning to underwrite with Caleb, right? What other business models do we have in here? Thank you, Jay. That was, we've got a really good basis here to start for you, and I hope you're
Thank
able
you,
to
brother.
take that to the next level.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother.
Again, you guys, you can get the original from Don Miller's site. It's free. I don't know if the workshop is free, but you know, any other commentary, questions, people with ideas?
So when it comes to implementing this into my website, well,
Yep.
so because I have like an intro, so just shorten that down to the one-liner with
Yep.
the just okay, got it.
We can look at your website too. I mean, I've seen plenty of his website audits, but let's look at my website. What do I do?
Manage
Quick.
creative finance transactions.
There you go.
Mhm.
I manage creative finance transactions. Well, what's that mean? Technically, that's a fair question. So as far as caveman test goes, can they tell what you do in 5 seconds or less? We manage creative. My customers will know what this means. The people who are not my customers will not. And I'm okay with that. Right? I'm super niche. It's the way it is. So I'm okay with this as it is. Our proven process. Remember the 3-step process? This blends what he has, Donald Miller has, with what is in Traction by Gino Wickman. I have a 5-step process instead of a 3-step process. We get shared understanding, we get the right contract, right title company, we manage escrow, and we close the deal. I put it there because I want to be able to speak to people and take them through the website. But what's the one call to action I want them to do first? A crap ton of stuff, huh? It's way too busy over here. Grading harshly on my own stuff, way too busy. But I have so many things I want people to be able to grab on my homepage. But the main one is book a free chat. And I should have it up here, but my website builder doesn't accommodate a button up here specifically for that. But the call to action should be top right. And the main thing I care about is just book a call with us. Nothing else matters. You can look through all the other stuff, but book a call. What's your website, Jay?
morahomesolutions.com.
I like it. We buy houses and land in North Carolina. That does not tell me your JV model, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, maybe jv.morahomesolutions could be a subdomain where you set up a different site that says, we help you get your deal sold.
Mhm.
We help you find buyers. We help you close deals. But yeah, if you're marketing direct to seller and or agents, this is very clear. When I go there, oh, okay, houses and land, North Carolina specific. It's very specific. I know who I'm doing business with. And if this applies to me.
Yeah.
And then we have all the blah, blah, blah. Your call to action is mixed in. Nobody cares what about us.
Yep.
I would say this needs to be a footer link that if they're really looking for it, they know it's going to be like down here somewhere. And it's not even down here. That's not a primary navigation piece. Sell us your deal. Is that your call to action, or is get a buy price? Or are they both?
They're both. So I'll have people submit a buy price, like if they don't have it under contract, but if they have it under contract, they'll click on sell us your deal.
What's the difference between sell us your deal and get a buy price?
Sell us your deal, they'll have a property already under contract, get a buy price if they're unsure. So if they're gonna make an on-market offer or they're gonna make an offer to a seller, they'll submit that since it's currently not under contract.
You see how I'm already confused because they look like they could be the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe you combine both of these. And then when they get to that page, it's like you let them choose which one it is. You want them to take some action and start moving and interacting. And anytime they get confused, they're like, I don't know which one. And they don't want to look stupid. Guess what? People don't want to look stupid even in front of themselves. So if I don't know which one of these to click and I'm not dedicated to your page and I don't already know that I want to do business with you, I'm going to be like, let me just go Google another company.
You're right.
You lose them that fast. So
Got it.
give me something to click that puts me on the right page and then further direct me, subdivide my action, get some momentum and then direct that momentum to the next thing. Helpful?
Very helpful. Thank you, brother.
Very good?
Very
Very
good.
good. Everybody else here is boring. Come on, guys. You don't have anything to look at? Meanwhile, the people on YouTube watching this are going to be like, it's just him and Jay, isn't it? Full credit to Donald Miller. His book, Building a Story Brand, is a fantastic read. You can look up his videos on and walkthroughs about it and the website walkthroughs and caveman test and all that stuff. I love it. It's been very helpful to me. So I encourage you to explore his stuff yourselves.
Great stuff. Thank you, Caleb.
Absolutely.